Nigerians react to Supreme Court can of worms opened by retiring Justice Dattijo Mohammed. Against the backdrop of claims by the former Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Musa Dattijo, that the Chief Justice of Nigeria wields numerous powers capable of derailing the course of justice. The House of Representatives has reiterated its readiness to look at the allegations and come up with what is best for the nation's judiciary. Justice Dattijo, until recently a member of the bench at the Appeals Court, borrowed his mind last week on the need for bring the powers of the CJN, given the oversight functions he exercises on a number of legal institutions across the country. Speaking at a valedictorian section organized in his honor on Friday, Justice Dattijo said, as presently structured, the CJN is the chairman of the National Judicial Commission, which oversees both the appointment and the discipline of judges. He is equally the chair of the Federal Judiciary Service Commission, the National Judiciary Institute, and the Legal Practitioners Privileges Committee that appoints senior advocates of Nigeria. My considered opinion is that the oversight functions of these bodies should not rest on an individual alone. A person with absolute powers, it is said, corrupts easily and absolutely. As chair of the NJC, FJSC, NJI, and LPPC, appointment as council board and commitment members are not his pleasure. He neither confers with fellow justices nor seek their counsel or input on any matter related to these bodies. He has both the final and the only say. The CJN has the power to appoint 80% of members of the council and 60% of members of FJSC. The same applies to NJI and LPPC. While noting that such numerous powers are effortlessly abused, Justice Dattijo Mohammed called for a paradigm shift, saying this needs to change. Continued denial of the existence of district threatening abnormal weakens effective judiciary oversight in the country. Appropriate steps could have been taken easier to fill outside vacancies in the appeals court. Why have these steps not been timelessly taken? It is evident that the decision not to fill the vacancies in the court is deliberate, and it is all about the absolute powers vested in the office of the CJN and the responsible exercise of the same. Speaking exclusively with the Punch on Sunday, a member of the House of Representatives representing Obioko Orade Federal Constituency in Osun State, Oluwale Oke, said lawmakers in the Great Chambers were concerned about the issues raised by the retired Supreme Court Justice. Oke, who doubles as the House Committee Chairman on Judiciary, said work was already ongoing on a number of issues raised by Dattijo Mohammed in his valedictory address. He said, "We are concerned and about the Mohammed revelation, but as it is now, it is an allegation. The judiciary is an independent arm of government, though we have two standing committees of the House overseeing the judiciary on whether the House Committee on Judiciary would take into account the issues Dattijo spoke about in the course of the next constitutional amendment. Okay, said, we will look into the issues. Already, we have a referral at hand which we are working on. It is about the lack of adequate number of justice at the appellate courts and the Supreme Court, which has hampered efficient and timely delivering of justice in Nigeria. Meanwhile, some senior lawyers have called for a constitutional amendment and judicial reform that will strip the CJN of some powers. A senior advocate of Nigeria, Chief Mike Uzekome, agreed with Justice Dattijo Mohammed, saying, "We know that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. No matter how humble such a person will be, I will therefore urge that the constitutional amendment that these things that should take these things into considerations." Ozekeme also called for the immediate appointment for more Supreme Court justice. Similarly, a former secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association, Mr. Afam Osaige San, said there was a need to review some of the bodies headed by the CJN. He said, "I am not particularly commenting on what Justice Dattijo said, but I would like to put on record that I have mentioned severally in the media that there is everything wrong with the CJN being the chairman of FJSC, which makes recommendations to the NJC, and also chairing the same council that considers the recommendations. I also think the law should be amended to only make the CJN the chairman of the NJC, while the FJSC should be reconstituted. I also believe in reconstituting other bodies while persons outside the judiciary or retired judiciary officers should hold them. I am not saying this with a particular reference to this particular Chief Justice of Nigeria. It has always been there so." Another senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Ebon Olu, noted that the current arrangement dates back to the immediate post-independence period, saying like the CJN, the president and the Senate president also enjoy numerous powers. Ebolu said, this has been the position since the independence. It is expected that the person who occupies that office will continually use his discretion for effective management. It will be difficult to share those powers with any other agency, given the nature of the office of the CJN. It is the same thing with the office of the president. The powers given to the president are numerous, the same as the Senate president. The Senate president presides over the National Assembly. He is the chairman of the National Assembly Commission and also the chairman of the National Assembly Legislative Institute. It is not proper to just isolate the CJN for the purpose of stripping these powers. He, however, urged the CJN to learn to consult the voice before reaching some decisions. On the low member of Supreme Court, Justice Ebolu said, "It is quite a sad tale on our judiciary system to have just 10 justices in the Supreme Court. Generally, the judiciary in Nigeria deserves a state of emergency, as the appellate courts have become more of a burial ground for the administration of justice in Nigeria." So guys, let's hear from you. What's your take? Kindly share your thoughts below.